Hello. If this is your first time joining my YouTube channel, I'm Evolving Always Productions. My name is Terry Lynn Dupree, and I strive to help people to evolve mentally, physically, spiritually, and of course, financially. That's what we're here for. So today I have a phenomenal guest. Her name is Brittany Bullard, and Brittany is all bossed up, which is scrolling on the bottom. If you're not following this lady right now on Instagram, you really should because she's phenomenal. She has over 5,000 sales in e-commerce. She has many stores on different platforms, and she is out there trying to help other people to, become their best as well. That's what she's about as well. She's just a very smart person, and I am so fortunate to have her. So, hello, Brittany. How's it going today?
I am doing well. I got a whole 8 listings up today. No, look, I was aiming for 10 and only got 8. But I was like, actually, after we get off this call, I'm going to make sure I do those last 2 listings. 10 is my goal for every day because I'm slow. Like not that fast at listing, and I don't really like it, So, yeah.
It's probably because you're similar to me. I think you're probably a little OCD. So sometimes you kind of like overdo it, right? Because I know I do. I know sometimes I can take forever on one listing, which is pretty sad.
You know what I was thinking about doing? Like while I was listening earlier, I was like, okay, because eBay has so many different, everything except for your blood type. If I would just go ahead and just list only on the other way around, because I usually do eBay and then Poshmark and Mercari. Well, why don't you just do for a week Poshmark and Mercari and just see what happens? Don't do eBay. Not that eBay is bad. I love eBay, but it just takes so long. So I'm like, try it, see how you feel. And then, that way I can see how the people that don't do eBay, how they feel. You know what I'm saying? Like they're getting a whole lot more listings up than me. That's for sure. 20, 30 listens a day because you don't have to put in as much stuff. So, yeah.
That's such a good plan just to see how it is, kind of strategize. And it's like an experiment that you'll be doing to see how it works out. I like that concept.
Yeah.
I know you're pretty organized, and we will definitely be talking about that because you're extremely organized. We'll be getting all into that good stuff as we get some more people in too. So basically, what was your goal for this week then overall, if you don't mind sharing?
The listing?
Just in general.
In general? Oh gosh, I always have a whole bunch of stuff going on, but I just really wanted to iron out, my schedule coming back from the snow stuff and all of that. Then I gained about 8-9 pounds in between the vacation and then coming back. And so getting my schedule this week was all about just getting everything back in order. Just figure out what that schedule is going to be and follow it. Basically, just do what you say you're going to do because that's what that's what I preach. If you set out a schedule or whatever, you should just follow that. And then if you can't, for whatever reason, because life happens, then you reevaluate. So for me personally, at night, that's when I do my reevaluating. If something didn't go the way I wanted it to go that day, then I try to figure out what the problem was and try to correct it the next day. Basically, like, okay, what got me off track today? Like if it was Instagram or whatever, then I have to say, was it, valid? You know what I mean? Like, was it valid that I did that? Or was it something that I could have controlled that I just kind of got out of control with? Most of the time when it comes to Instagram, it's usually something I could have controlled, but I just love engagement,
I totally agree. You're so right about that because social media can be really time consuming. And I'll probably want to talk to you about some tips because I actually think you have some good tips on that for business owners. And again, if you're not already following her on Instagram, you must be following Brittany because she is definitely all bossed up on Instagram. She is also on YouTube. And again, she's still Brittany's all bossed up on YouTube. And she gives some very phenomenal business tips on organization and just a lot of things to just be a better entrepreneur. So I highly recommend that you follow her and that you check out her YouTube. And I know every Monday she does Motivational Mondays. So she's got very motivational material, but she'll also have a program tomorrow talking about, what are you going to be talking about tomorrow? Because I know you have a YouTube tomorrow.
We're going to be talking about, it's on my Success is a Mindset series. That's
Okay.
normally every Tuesday at 7 p.m. But tomorrow we're doing a special day and time, 7 p.m. Wednesday for Airbnb. And actually, I'm having my sister and my mother on with me because they both have done it simultaneously off and on. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, we're going to talk about ups and downs and ins and out, what you can expect and how you could get started. So if it's something that interests you, you should definitely tune in. It'll be fun.
Well, I'll be tuning in. I can go ahead and tell you that right now. I'm very interested in that. And I love the fact that it's a family affair, so we can't beat that.
Right. And sometimes people look at me and my older sister because she's dark skinned and I'm light skinned, and like, you know, you guys are sisters. We like, yeah.
I don't know why people do that though, because when it comes to people of color, it's exactly that. We're definitely people of color. So, I don't know why. I always get confused why people do that.
We have the same mom and dad.
Yeah, but it happens because, and the reason why it happens is when we came. Obviously, when we came from Africa, we know that there was a lot that went down, and that's why you have so many different, complexions and everything. So that's why it's always funny when that happens. But that's another topic altogether. Maybe we'll do a YouTube just about color. I think it's called colorism, as a matter of fact. So that'll be another topic, right? But I am so excited because, like I said, you're going to have your family. You're going to be teaching a stream of income, and it's so important to have multiple streams of income. I just can't say it enough. And you are definitely key in knowing how to do that. You really have a very interesting start. You said something one day that really struck out to me. I think you said that you were fired one day.
That's true.
And it ended up being the best thing because it was like a setback, but you ended up making a comeback. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was the end of the world because, I had all my little ducks in a row and I know how much money I make. I've never had to write everything. Well, I have wrote my bills out, but after you do it for so long, you don't even need to look at it anymore. You just know how much money is coming in and you do it because you kind of know. And then if I add in something else, then I would maybe look at it that month. But I didn't really have to do it but anyway, so my point is, after I lost the job, I was like, what? And it's crazy because my DM, she was like, you're really sweet. And I was like, really? Okay, you are firing me. Are you kidding me? She didn't really have a good excuse, so I ended up filing for unemployment. I did get it, but at that time, there was a waiting period. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do until that happens? But that's kind of how everything started happening with all the other stuff that I learned. I flipped cell phones for a little while. I did Turo. I rented out my Benz because I have a Benz. It's almost paid off. But I rented out my car, and then what else? That's when I started getting on to YouTube and trying to just figure out different ways to make money. So I started the reselling as well. So then I started eBay. I did books. I just went full force. I went to Amazon, started doing books, sending those in through FBA. I had that inventory lab. I don't know if anybody in here is familiar with all that stuff, but it costs money to have inventory lab. It ain't cheap, and then I bought a book scanner to scan the books, and I just did so many things in the beginning. But then I ran across a couple of resellers that was talking about how you really needed to scale down, and get into one thing. And that's how I ended up trying to scale it down and not doing so many different ventures because you can't keep up with all of them. You got to pick something, you can't just do so many different categories because then you'll never really get, you can't be you're just a jack of all trades, but an expert at nothing, basically. You know what I'm saying?
I like the way you said that because sometimes if you're doing too much, you can spread yourself thin, basically. Yeah. So that's actually a really good point. And so, in the beginning, because you were trying to do so much, I guess, because you're like, okay, let me replace this money. I think that's probably your mindset. That's why you just went full force. But I love the fact that you decided to, step back,
Yeah, but one thing about it too is that before all of that happened, I was paying extra on my car note every single month. So by the time that happened, I was 2 car notes ahead. So I was like, oh, thank God, you know, I don't have to worry about my car note for 2 weeks. So now while I'm not worrying about that, I can do some other things over here. So those little things that we may not be thinking about while the money is flowing, that's why you put away savings. That's why you always have something. At the time, I had some savings too. You have to do it. I mean, at least I got used to that from being in college. It seemed like every time I would get like that, you know, money, your financial aid from college, I would take some of that money and just put it up. And then a portion of it I would take for whatever books or whatever I needed. May take like $1,000, and that's all you get. So everything that you're getting and everything else goes and gets put up. So that way, if you have to pay some credit cards back next year or whatever you got to do throughout the year, I mean, use my credit cards and stuff. And then if they get charged up, when that money comes back in, I pay them off, and we just start this whole cycle over again. The only bad thing about that is you start the cycle, you know, with the cards, which at the time I realized was a bad cycle. It's not good to keep charging them up and then paying them up and charging them up. It was the same thing, you know. So
I agree, but sometimes that does happen. But the other thing that I really agree with is you're right. You need to always have a savings. And that's why I'm a firm believer. The Richest Man in Babylon, I don't know if you read it or not, but I love that book because that's one of the things he talks about. He says, whatever, you know, you earn, 10% of that is yours. And basically what he's meaning is 10% of that you need to put aside to, you know, make more money, invest, you know, that type of thing. So I'm a big firm believer in that. Definitely. So it's good that you bring that up. And because then when you have times like what happened to you, you're not left, you know, with nothing. You know what I mean? So I believe, yes, you should obviously work on your debt, you know, and I know some people think, well, pay all your debt before you start saving. But then if you had been in that scenario, you would have had no money, you know, and you don't want to ever be without any money, because then guess what? You still, like you said, you're going to have to use the credit card again because, you know, you did all of that.
Yes. Family.
So it's really good that, you know, you did that. I mean, really great. What was I going to tell you? So I love how, you know, you just automatically just went in, you know, full force, and you just took advantage. You said, hey, you know, I'm not gonna let this get me down. I'm gonna figure things out, even though you was like you was doing a lot of things trying to figure it out. But you figured it out, so that's the important thing. Yeah, you're right. That and there's always going to be bills. Someone mentioned that debt keeps coming, and you're right, because that's the other thing too. You can never fully pay off all bills. There's always going to be something, you know. Most of the time, there's always going to be something anyway. So it's interesting. So,
hey, Lizette.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we got quite a few people here.
Else in here.
Yeah. Janice came to see you too. Janice and Michelle, she was here earlier as well. And Rhonda is here. I don't know how I missed Rhonda.
Right.
Rhonda snuck in on me. But anyway, so that's really good that, you know, you bring that up. Definitely always put some money aside, because you just never, Tasha's here as well, you just never know what can happen. And it's just really so key. The other thing is that I thought was interesting is you had a daycare yourself at one time too, correct?
Both had an in-home daycare and worked at a daycare center. Now, the center was the one that I was fired from, but the one at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had one at home out of my home before I moved and did that other daycare as well.
And how did you like that?
I love the in-home one because you could do pretty much whatever you wanted to do, as long as it's obviously within DHS's guidelines. There are certain things that you can't do, or certain things you got to have it set up a certain way. You know, you got to have those you got to child-proof everything. So everything is child-proof, and just follow their rules on no propping bottles, like just little simple things that DHS is not going to allow you to do. But other than that, you do whatever you want. It's like Lisette said, she liked it to decorate and stuff like that. All the little holidays, I would try to do like a little party or a little theme and have the parents be able to come and hang out with their kids at some point. If it was St. Patrick's Day or if it was Easter or whatever the holiday was, we would do something. It seemed like almost every month it was something, you know what I mean? Like a lot of my money that I made went right back in, because if I saw a kid needed a pair of shoes, or I would ask their parent, hey, is it okay if I buy them? You know, like, I don't care. I just want to see everybody be, you know, happy and good when they're in my care. So yeah, I really enjoyed the in-home daycare. I think even now, if I was to have another child, I might actually consider doing it again. You know what I mean? Like, because that way I can be at home with my child. You know what I mean? Like, I may not do all ages, because at first I was doing all ages. And so the lesson plan is harder when you have all these different ages and trying to, you know, balance that out. But if I was to do it and just have infants through 2-year-olds or something, it might be a little bit easier because you don't have that age gap there, you know? So
yeah, so I could see talking about in retrospect why it would be good for someone if they have a child, like a young child, to open up a, you know, at-home daycare, because like you said, because you're already going to be home taking care of that child anyway, and then you can, like you said, get children close to that age, because I'm assuming that's what you would do, right? If you were to do that, is that pretty much correct?
Right. I think that you need to have, like I was saying, like the closer the age group, the better. Because if you have, you know, like, I don't know, my daughter, I know when I was doing it, my daughter was like 6, 7. So she wasn't even there all day long. She had to go to school and then she'd come at the end, but it was great. But I think if you had a baby though, that would be that, because, you know, daycare is like literally, I know when I was working at the daycare center, it was $384 a week for an infant. 384 times 4. So I'm like, that is a lot of money. So you got to be thinking about, is this even really worth me going to work, and then half of my income is chopped out, you know, like, or a good portion of it is chopped out because of this daycare. So if you could be at home, you know, I don't know. It just seemed.
So I don't know if for the audience out there, and of course this is going to be on podcast as well, Brittany really just gave a gem right there. I love what she just said. So let's say you have, you know, a family at the house, and you have a young one. Like she said, daycare is extremely expensive. And if you don't qualify from help from the government, it would actually be smart if one parent stayed home and got a daycare. That's actually a very smart thing to do, because then you're staying home with your own child. And then of course you can have other children as well. So you're making money, because I tell you, like she was saying, you're talking close to what, $1,500 a month? If you had your child going to daycare. Now, depending on how much money you make out in the, you know, out in the workforce, that could be fine. But for some people, that would really be a struggle, and would, in the long run, not really be worth it, when they could be staying at home and making a lot more money, and taking care of their child on their own. So I love that gem that you just gave. That's actually very smart, because you're right. I remember the daycare days. Trust me. It's a lot of money out of pocket.
Very beginning, you just want to be there for everything. I mean, I think that's something that I wish I would have had more of when she was little. Like, I was working pretty much full time whenever she was born, but I just wish I had more time with her when she was the first couple of years is so crucial. They walk, they crawl, every little thing that they do. Oh, they hold their head up. You know what I mean? Like all these little things. So if you could be more there, more present, it's better. You know what I mean? Like that's where that strong bond is built.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I totally agree. I think that is such a critical time, and I wish I had done it myself, to be straight with you. So I can totally agree with you, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel the same way. You know what I mean? A lot of people. So what was I going to ask? Someone asked you what was the hardest task you ever had, I guess, getting started, and they may have been talking about in regards to a business.
I would say the hardest thing is trying to figure out how much money you're going to put into this. Like what field, like what area do you want to go in? Because there's so many different things with reselling that you can do. And so you have to pinpoint what you want to do. And then you have to take into account the risk. You have to assess that. And then the money part. How much money do I want to spend on this venture? And then, okay, if I get into this, then what's the ifs, the what ifs, you know what I mean? But you don't go too far on that end because that'll stop you from getting started at all. But you do want to assess some of the major risks, like some of the things that you feel like could go wrong. If I do this, then what? You know, or if this happens, then what am I going to do? Always have a contingency plan. I'm not one of those persons that, you know, I'm going to go this way and there ain't no plan B. I'm always thinking about if something goes wrong, what are you going to do? Because I feel like that's realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's realistic to be like, I'm do or die. No, because you might not be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like, so hey, I like to have the realistic approach. If for some reason something happens, I get sick or something happens, what am I going to do?
You know, well, you like to have contingency plans, basically. So you want to definitely attempt to have your own business, which I know is what you're saying. But at the same time, you want to have a contingency plan. I totally understand. And everyone should have a contingency plan. They should prepare for if things don't work like they think they will. You know, if it doesn't go like this, what do I do next? You know, or like even for me, when I get inventory, I don't go with the mindset that something's going to sell right away.
Yeah.
I don't, but you know, because some things are going to sell very rapidly and some things are going to sit for a while. But what I've learned from doing it for a while is that if you're patient, everything does sell. And that doesn't even mean that you're putting great sales, but that doesn't even mean that you're doing drastic sales or anything either. So that's my experience.
That's true. No, I
did y'all hear me? Because I feel like I'm going really slow.
You guys, no,
yeah, I felt like my internet was going really slow.
It was a little bit, but I can still hear you. So it's okay.
Okay, good. Great. So yeah, that's my concept on, but you're right. You should have contingency plans. That's a great, thing to think about with any business that you run, obviously. Right. So that was really good that you did the daycare, and that's something that, you really even consider doing again. So I like that. I like that thought process. So you were also a retail manager for over 5 years. Where were you a retail manager?
Walmart. yeah.
So you're a retail manager at Walmart? Oh, okay. So how did you like that? It was okay.
No.
Look, we won't talk long about that one.
Because if it wasn't for Walmart, some of the things that I do with the business, I don't think I would be doing those, or I wouldn't even know. I would have known about a bin system and audits and all that kind of stuff. That's stuff that I learned working at Walmart. You know what I mean? Like, I know the reason why we do those. I get the point of all that stuff. And I think all that stuff has actually helped me in this business. So actually, it's transferable skills. So I like the fact that I had gained those transferable skills, because I knew after 2 years that I would never have a badge that said 15 years. I was like, they can't get me to do this, because I was missing like too much. Like that first year, they don't even give you, I don't know if they changed it now, but that first year, they do not give you no days off. None. You don't have sick time. You don't have nothing. So if you get sick, though, you can call in, of course. You're on salary. But they don't have sick time. They don't have personal days, which is ridiculous. I think that's absurd to think that somebody's going to work on an entire year and not have any time to themselves. You really don't care about the person. You want to holler work-life balance, but how am I getting a work-life balance if I don't even, get any days off or get to take any time to myself? So no, Walmart for me, I can't advocate, like as far as it being a great place to work. Now, I think when the new manager came in, because I worked there, when there was, I think, a different CEO than it is right now. But when they upped everything and they got the apps and all that kind of stuff, it got better. I will say that. So right now, its current state is a lot better than when I was working there when they had the dinosaur system. They call it the smart system, but it was like the green and white screen, and you had the 1,600 hours and 1,800 hours and all that. I don't know if they still do it that way. I'm trying to remember if they do, but I don't think the new system is like that. It's just it's an updated system, and that system was so old, and they wasn't doing right. And then, so I actually left them. It was like 5 years total. I left, did the daycare, and then I came back. Like I did the daycare with, well, that's a long story. But
and that was
I only worked for them. The last time I worked for them, I only worked for them for about maybe 6 or 7 months. But I got to see all the new changes, and I actually really liked it. But I left them to go work for the government, to be quite honest, because the schedule was great. The hours were great. The pay was great. That's probably the only job that I would even consider, going back to would be the government, because they actually care. They had a time when you could sign up to go work out. You could get every other Friday off. And you pretty much would pick. If you want to come in at 6, you can come in at 6. If you want to come in at 7, you can come in at 7 and work your hours or whatever. I don't know. I've never seen a company, and what you do is not so stressful that you just like when you get off, you shut up, you don't want to hear nothing, you don't want to cook, it's not that kind of job. So I don't know. I don't know how many other jobs it is out there like that, but retail for me was like that, like drove me bonkers. Okay. You do so many things, they overwork you. And so I found myself doing that in the business too. Like at first I would put way too many things to do on my planning list or whatever, like in my planner. Well, now I don't do that. I just like take my top 5 and call it a day, and whatever else don't get done, my main things, I want to get those done. And then I don't even worry about the rest of that stuff, because that's why I was so stressed out trying to get every single thing on the list done. And that's why, and then you run yourself, you end up running into burnout, basically. But I am a workaholic by nature. Like,
yeah,
I'll stay late, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a good point. So when you was working in a government job, what did you do in a government job?
I was a document integrity specialist. Basically, what we did was whenever like a building or a anything that gets damaged, like a school or anything that would get messed up, like say the storm came to like hurricanes and stuff like that, whenever they happen and the stuff is damaged, then we are the ones that look at all the reports for fixing all of that. And then we basically cross the T's and dot the I's. Basically, you're looking at the report and making sure the scope of work, the this, the that, everything is like where it should be and it looks good. And then you send it to the next team. There's like 6 different parts of that process. And so the document integrity specialist, we just had one part. We're looking at the damage and all of that and just making sure certain documents were in there. And then, verifying the documents, and then we send it to the next team. Like the next team was like validation. Then they would validate it, right? The scope and whatever else. And it's a whole process. But it was, it was fun to me. Like, it didn't bother me. I mean, I guess over time, you do get used to it or whatever. And it can seem like it's boring, but I feel like, hey, for the money that they're paying and the schedule that they give you, the peace of mind, I felt like it was actually worth it. You know what I mean? Like, not bad.
I love it. It sounds like you had a really good time. And my husband's making me laugh right now. I told him to join the live, and I think he thinks I don't have questions to ask you. So he's like asking a lot of random questions. So I don't want him to think I'm ignoring his questions, but he's trying to help because he's a sweetie like that. He just wants to make sure questions are asked. I got to give him a hug. He's the fitness truck guy, y'all. Just give him some love. That's my hubby. He's trying to make sure that questions are asked. But anyway, yeah. So I wanted to ask you. So you said you were in your first management job at age 19. So which one was that?
That was also
that the
retail.
Walmart one?
No, that was retail, but that was Family Dollar. Yeah.
Oh, it's Family Dollar? Oh, okay.
Yep. So
that's funny.
Oh, they just kept giving me stuff to do that was like a new manager came in and he's supposed to be, I'm like, I'm not no manager. How am I training the manager to do stuff? So eventually they just made me one because I was doing everything. You know, I was at first third key. They call it third key at the time where you just get to have a key and all that. And then I started training the new man. I was like, okay, yeah, they need to give me, you know, and I didn't even realize it. I was like, they need to pay me some more money, you know, because I'm only 19. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I was excited. I've always been that kind of person to want to do something and then do more. Learn that, and now let me do something else. You know, always like that. But yeah, that's how
I can totally believe that because yeah, I totally can believe that of Brittany. That's why I say you definitely need to follow her on Instagram because she's just she shares a lot of great tips. And definitely check out our YouTube, which you can click to the link on YouTube for that. Brittany's so sharp that like I told you, she has multiple platforms that she's on e-commerce. And she got you've been with List Perfectly for a while, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been with List Perfectly?
List Perfectly. Yeah, let's see.
No, I said how long. I said how long have you been with them?
I'm trying to remember how long it's been. I think I started with them. I don't even remember exactly. It's been so long now. Maybe it was like June or July, something like that. You know what I mean? Like maybe
I think it's
6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've been up there for a while now. But I was going to bring it up because Brittany's doing so well utilizing that platform. That's one of the things that she does to get her items on different platforms. And of course, just to be more efficient, correct, Brittany? So basically, if you're interested in that, for people that are listening, for the viewers out there and people that are listening on a podcast, if you want to be more efficient and you're on multiple platforms, because there's a lot of platforms out there now, as we know, you can actually be really efficient, get all your items out there using List Perfectly. And when you follow Brittany at All Bossed Up and you click on her bio, you can actually click on a link and you get $30 off for the first month. So I did want to bring that up because she is very efficient. She does talk a great deal about that. And she's even on List Perfectly's website because she's that awesome. So just keep that in mind. I did want to mention that. And I think the question that
they gave me, I'm sorry to interrupt you. They gave me a different option. I guess you could pick like a different code or whatever. Because remember, I was discount deals for you. Now it's All Bossed Up. So if they don't want to click on the bio or whatever, they could just put in All Bossed Up and then still get it. So just say since it's podcast, so they'll know, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely repeat that again because I want to make sure everybody gets that right. Say it one more time, Brittany, please.
List Perfectly. So you'll get 30% off for your first month. They also give you a 3-day free trial. A lot of people just skip right over that. Also want to just say real quick that the business plan is the greatest one, in my personal opinion, that gives you the most for your money. Because the whole purpose is for it to fill in the most fields possible so that you can get on to doing what you really want to do. And if you want, like I've tried all three. I'm not just saying this just because I want everybody to be on the middle plan. $50 plan is the best for $49. I think it's $49.99. And then the $29 is not that great, in my personal opinion. And then you just, for me personally, I just didn't need the pro. You need to really look at what that offers. And if you really need it, then get the pro one. But if you don't really need all of that, then that one right in the middle is the best one. And that's what I'm on. And I think that's where I'm going to stay. So, yeah.
I totally agree with you. The one in the middle is the best one. You're definitely right. So please listen to her when you go in and select. If you're someone that's on multiple platforms or you're considering it, if you consider you've been using one platform and you're like, I would like to try other platforms, because I do highly recommend that you do cross list. Definitely, that's only going to add more money to your bottom line, multiple streams of income. Then you definitely want to utilize that app. So another thing I want to ask is, so you said that yeah, we talked about that. It was something else I wanted to ask you real quick. So talk to me, if you don't mind, about, so I understand your daughter was 2 months, she was a preemie basically. Talk to me
Correct.
about that and the struggle with that, if you
Oh my
don't
God.
mind.
At that time, you got to understand, like, like the cell phones and everything, the technology, where technology was at then. Yes, we had the internet, but I just felt like I had my daughter, I didn't have anybody I could identify with. Like, so I just felt like I was like when I had her early and I was like, I'm the only person to have to leave this hospital without my child, and so I had postpartum, like I really would cry off and on. It was pretty bad in the beginning, but she only stayed in there for 2 months. All she had to do was just eat and grow. And by the time she was 2, which is what they said, she caught up with everybody else. She had so many words. I mean, she walked a little bit late, but other than that, she didn't really have a whole bunch of developmental delays. You know what I mean? But my point in saying that is, now that you have a community of people, like you have Instagram, you have all these groups on Facebook and all that kind of stuff that I think Facebook was just coming about when my daughter was born. Like I was on there, but I wasn't really utilizing it like it is today. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, that was one of the hardest things, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody to go through, like where you have to have your child and you can't leave the hospital with them, but you're at the hospital. Like I was up at the hospital every single day with her by her side because it was hard. It's your firstborn child. And then that's why I can't say that's why I don't have any children, but that's why I didn't take just having child after child after child. It's easy. No, I wanted to make sure that when I have this next child, that the person I'm having the child with understands, how I feel about that sort of thing. And that, moving forward, they really have to be there for me because you don't know if I might go through the same thing and have preeclampsia or whatever, which is like high blood pressure when you're pregnant. That's how she ended up coming early. And what the doctor said was that the guy that I was with, her dad at the time, our DNA mixed together just didn't match, basically. You know what I mean? Like, just to be quite honest, our DNAs just didn't match. But he was like, you can get me, and it could be a totally different situation. You may not have preeclampsia, so I wouldn't know because I haven't, had another child yet. But that's kind of like where I'm at. Like, I really took precautions. Like, I definitely am a strong believer in birth control. I do not want to just have a baby, so just in case something was to happen, abstinence too. But if for some reason you weren't to do that or something happened, then again, like I was telling you before, what's your contingency plan? Like, if this is not really what you want to do right now in your life, which to each its own, because I know some people feel like, you shouldn't do that or you shouldn't take birth control or whatever. But for me personally, I feel like you just have to know what you're trying to do. And, that's in between, I guess, you and the God you serve or whatever spirituality like that you practice. If it's not, belief in God, I feel like it's up to you as a person. You have to know what you can and can't handle. That's like, people get mad at other people that don't want to have kids at all. Not everybody was, I think, meant to have children or they're not selfish people because they don't want to have children. I don't look at them that way anyway. But I do feel like that the people that don't have children might be missing out. They're definitely missing out because I feel like children teach you so many things. You know what I mean? Like, and they add so much life. Like, I don't know. There's, you know what I mean, to your, so I'm like, well, I don't know. But I don't blame the people that don't want to, or if they can't have children or whatever, I mean, I just feel like not everything is for everybody. Let's just put it like that. But you have to do what works for you, if that makes sense.
I totally agree. And I want to add to that. For me, I think being a parent definitely made me a better person. But I do think you got a good point. It's not for everyone. And so I think you do need to determine that, definitely the type of person you are, and determine that, because there's nothing worse than a child coming into the world with a parent that's not really meant to be a parent. Basically, I'm gonna say it like that. But if you're, so, and I love your fact about contingency plans and all that stuff, because I think when it comes to contingency plans, parenthood is definitely one of them you need to consider. Totally totally one of those that you need to consider for so many reasons, right? Because you want to make because you want to bring someone in the world and be able to provide for them, and not just when they're a kid. You want to be able to help. I totally believe in generational wealth. And I know some people disagree with that, but I believe in it because kids weren't asked to be brought into this world. They didn't have a choice in it. You brought them. So why not try to make things the best for them because you brought them in the world? That's my thought process anyway.
No,
So,
I agree.
yeah. But, that's how I feel. But I know not everybody feels that way because I think some people feel like because they didn't have it, they're like, well, my child's not going to learn how to do this. But you'll teach your children to be responsible, to be hardworking. There's a way to still, provide generational wealth, but not give them everything that they want or spoil them, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
Which I did.
But
look, which I did.
Yeah. So, you did what?
Oh, I did. The first child.
What you do?
I definitely did some spoiling. I definitely had some outfits that never got worn, especially in the beginning. But as time went on, it's like the commercials say, you learn and you get loves. You know what I mean? Stop buying Huggies and, like all that. I think I did buy Huggies all the way till she got out of train pull-ups or whatever. But it's because they were actually good. It wasn't because I was trying to be, like bougie or whatever. But I did always want the best for her. If I could get it, I would go ahead and get it.
Yeah, but you gotta get the best, right?
That's but sometimes I did go overboard. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, my sister worked at Foot Action or whatever back then when she was born. So she had all the new Jordans, all the new like that stuff was like $20 and $25 for me. So I just bought all of them when she was little, like that. And even when she started getting bigger, I think she worked there for like a couple years. So I got shoes when she was little for cheap anyway. So, but she was spoiled. And then I had to learn that it's more important for you to give her things that are going to help to obviously build her in her mind, her character, her spirit, who she is, to instill those values in, and have experiences with her versus, because I said, dang, I didn't get to go on very many vacations. I didn't get to, see the world as a child like that. So that's kind of some of the stuff that, all parents, I think, want to give their children something that they didn't get, like in their childhood. Am I right or wrong, true or false?
You're so right. That can be another, me and you might do another live just on that, to be honest with you. That's a conversation in itself. Truly it is. A matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a live arts to that. So what is some advice you want to give people that are considering becoming entrepreneurs? First, anything that you want to say initially that you
first
I know you talked about contingency plans and all that, but what's some other advice?
The first thing that I want to say is that one thing that I've learned on this whole journey that I think I didn't start off doing in the very beginning that I do now, that is a huge help that I didn't really realize, because you'll get burnt out, because I've always been a worker. So I'm like, I'll just work day and night. No, ma'am. The community part of it and just having other people to bounce ideas off of. I eventually learned that probably about 6 months after I started. But my advice would be definitely, if you don't have a group of people, you don't have a tribe or whatever, you need to have at least one tribe. I mean, there's many different groups that you can get in, but that doesn't mean that that'll be your group or your tribe. There's only, that doesn't happen all the time. But I would say try out some different groups and see what you think, and try to find a group of people that you can bounce ideas off of, and you can lift one another up. Some people that are on that same type of path as you, whatever you do end up deciding to do. Or say you don't know, you're trying to be an entrepreneur, but you're not 100% sure what you want to do exactly, but you have some ideas. Write those ideas down and then bounce those off the people in those groups based off of what you want to do. Try to find some people that are doing that, and definitely have yourself a mentor, somebody that you look up to. And if they're reachable, definitely reach out. You know what I mean? Because like there was some people that I ended up getting to have conversations with. Like I know Chris at Daily Refinement probably doesn't think that he's this great person or whatever, but for me, I didn't even think that I would ever be able to talk to the guy. But, you know, I'm in his mastermind group, and I've had conversations with him, and he's just so humble. And so that's another thing, you know what I mean? Like, you would never know if you didn't try to reach out, though, and try to get into a group. And then I've met so many other great people after that as well, you know, including you and Leslie. And, you know, like, you meet all these different people if you do something like that. So I would say when you get started out, that's a tip that I would give, and work on yourself. Read some books, because a lot of the stuff that you want to know is not just going to be, you know, on another YouTube video or something like that. A lot of that stuff is in these books. So if you're not reading, you should do that. And as you work on yourself, everything else will fall into place. Like, because the more you do that, you're loving yourself. And the way you talk to yourself, definitely do some affirmations, stuff like that. I mean, those are tips that I would definitely give. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're new starting out, use social media because it's free. You know, like, I mean, definitely. I mean, yes, you have to put your time into it, and don't just use it to sell to people. You know what I'm saying? But use it as, you know, in a community aspect. Yes, you do want to, you know, get your stuff out there in front of buyers. I get that. But for me, I don't know. I like the community aspect, and just more so being around people that are doing something like what I'm doing versus trying to use it to sell everything to everybody. That's great and all. I get it. But I don't know. For me, it's more on the community and being around women, like empowering women. For me, you know, I would say, you know, it's a little bit higher on that end, like, you know, tips, you know, like, yeah, you do want to, you know, sell your stuff or sell yourself. But like I was telling you the other day, I'm not even that great, I think, at marketing or marketing myself. You know, like, that's harder for me. But building and talking to people and lifting other people up, hey, that's I mean, that's where I feel more comfortable. So, I mean, I guess is, you know, but I just think that if you're starting out, that you should.
You do a really great job.
I try. I'm trying to do better. You know, let's put it like that. Like, I'm trying to start getting into SEO with YouTube and all of that, and using TubeBuddy, and trying to actually figure out the keyword situation and all that stuff. But it's like, I think you have to start somewhere. Like, because if you don't get started, you know, what is the saying? You don't have to be great to get started, but if you don't get started, you can't be great. So I totally believe in that. So definitely start somewhere, and then, you know, as you go, you can add on to whatever your skills. It'll get better over time. I mean, because I'm like, my first YouTube video, I can't say it was horrible, but it definitely, I think in 2 years from now, when I go back and look at that, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, look at how far I've come. Because you just don't start out knowing everything. It comes to you as you do it. It's a process, just like getting pregnant. Get pregnant, you get the baby in your stomach, and there's stages. It's the same thing. You know, that's how I look at starting a business. It's processes. And then you get to that point, you know? So yeah, that's my suggestion, you know.
I totally agree with you. I love a lot of things you said. Get a mentor. I do think that's really important. Getting a mentor is really key. Start looking at people that are in an industry that you're interested in. And even if you can, I mean, of course, we're dealing with Corona right now, so you won't be able to do this as much. But before Corona, it would always be good to actually job shadow somebody, or, you know, kind of, you know, shadow what they're doing to see if that's something that you really do want to do. You know, granted, like I said, right now, that's not really necessarily something that you can actually do now. But definitely still reach out to people, like you said, and social media is out there that for sure. And so if money was not an issue, what would you be doing right now?
I think if money wasn't an issue, I think if money wasn't an issue, I would still be doing reselling. However, the first thing that I would do is get somebody to do these doggone listings. I would basically just have people in place to help me with the reselling business. And I would be moving into real estate because I absolutely love, love, love real estate. So that's eventually everything that I'm doing with reselling is just to propel me into that major goal because I went to a workshop a long time ago. I think it was like a Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like a workshop, and that's when I realized what I needed to do, how I needed my setup to be in order to be able to go into investing money on that level. You know what I mean? And so I was like, okay, I got to get my ducks in a row first. This is not going to work with the way it is right now. I'm not going to be able to just jump in here and do it that way. And there's so many different things you can do within real estate, but I don't think I would, like I said, I wouldn't stop reselling, but I would have more people helping me with that because I like stuff like this. I like the community aspect. I want to engage with people and help people realize, obviously, who their best person is through self-actualization and helping them with their being more mentally aware of what's going on, that sort of thing. Like, that's really what I want to do. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be at a computer all day putting in measurements and, listing, you know what I mean? Like, that's not the exciting part of what I do. So I want to be out there in the field, out there helping other people realize that they can do the same thing, that you don't have to work a 9 to 5. You can actually go and get this bread yourself. You know what I mean? And you don't have to depend on, somebody else to give you a paycheck. There's so many different ways you can make money. And that's what I like. One of the things I really like about you, that you are people every day and teaching them different ways to make money.
Yeah, there is so many ways, and there's so much free money out there too that people are not even aware of. Even if it's a bit of money, free money is free money. Take advantage of it, right? Yeah, I definitely, I've got my real estate license in North Carolina, but I'm interested in real estate on a bigger scale. Like, I want to own apartment buildings and do that. That's some of my things I'm interested in. So, but you're in a great area for real estate. You're in Texas. From everything I've been researching right now, that's one of the best areas from a pricing standpoint and everything, really, Texas. So I'm hoping it stays that way because I've been hearing about a lot of people trying to move from California. And what I see happens is every time there's a lot of people moving from California, if they pick a certain location, like at one time, Arizona, like Phoenix, Arizona, that area the real estate was pretty decent. But then the people from California, they sold their homes, which, their homes are extremely expensive, $1 million plus, their homes are a lot of money. And so they had a lot of extra money. So when they go to an area, it makes the property go up. So that's what happened in Arizona. That's what happened in Florida. And the same for people that move from like New York or New Jersey, because the home prices are up there as well. And then they move to places like Florida and Arizona. I'm like, please don't go to Texas and ruin that. Because y'all's real estate property is like phenomenal. Would you not agree with that?
Oh yeah. I'm speaking of real estate, I'm getting ready to have to move soon too in July, but we're not buying yet. We're not buying yet, or I'm not buying yet anyways. I'm hold on to my house. I have the house. But I'm gonna hold on to that probably like one more year and see, because I wanted to get in here and see what I wanted to do. I didn't want to just jump in here and go buy some house and be stuck with that house. I wanted to feel the area and like the community and get used to traveling in the city and then figure out, because I've only been in Texas for a couple of years. So, well, almost 3 now, almost 3 years. Yeah. I think it's been about 3 years, but yeah. So, so at 4 years, at that point, you should pretty much know, okay, this is kind of what I want to do. I want to be in this area or whatever. You kind of know, before you get into something so big. You know what I mean?
Like, where are you from?
Originally, I was born.
Everyone, I'm sorry. I think
I was born in Elgin, Illinois. Yeah. Basically, right outside a small town
in Illinois. Okay.
I was, but we moved when I was like 8 to Oklahoma.
Gotcha.
So most of it was in Oklahoma. And then when I was about 17,
Oklahoma.
I moved. Yeah, yeah. So I moved a little bit early, right before graduation or whatever. I moved to Georgia for my senior year to help my sister out. Her roommate bailed on her. So I came, worked, and went to school. You see what I'm saying with this work thing? It's just always been there. Like, I remember my mom telling me, "Now you want to start working because once you start,
and a lot of your family is,
yeah." Oh, go ahead.
So a lot of your family is in Texas, correct?
Yes, almost
is that about right?
All of the intermediate, and then I do have like some cousins and a few aunts and uncles. It seemed like when one person moved in, then another person moved in, and then the next year a brother moved in, and then a sister moved. And so like the intermediate family, with the exception of 3 of my siblings, I'm one of 7. We're all here. So it's about 4 of us here. And then I have twin sisters. They live in North Carolina over by you, right? That's where you're at, right?
Are you talking about in Greenville, North Carolina?
Yeah. That's where my twin sisters live. I went to go visit them.
What area in North Carolina?
Does it start with a B? I'm trying to remember the city. Where are you?
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about that, because you just go to the visit, and go on about your business. Yeah. The neat thing I love is that you actually get with your family on Wednesday night and do Bible study, right?
Yeah, normally on Wednesday nights we would do Bible study.
Except have like a
Yep, sure do. Been doing that for a while now. Yeah.
I just think that's beautiful. I really do. When you were telling me that, I said, how beautiful is that? And it comes across, anybody that is fortunate enough to know Brittany, she's just a breath of fresh air. So again, I can't say enough that you need to be following her on her Instagram at Brittany All Bossed Up, as well as checking out her YouTube, because her aura will definitely come out to you. It just shows what a kind, loving, intelligent, beautiful woman she is. She really is. She's just phenomenal. I want to apologize to the audience tonight because I think I'm having technical issues, so I'm so sorry. But anyway, I did want to ask you a question I was curious about. What is your best childhood memory, Brittany?
Very best childhood memory, probably. I'm trying to think. Oh, I remember. It was when I was getting ready to, I know this is kind of silly, but I've always been a community kind of person. So it just seemed like when I was in middle school, I had never had, I think, a group of people that I was closer with in the neighborhood. We all knew each other. We all hung out. I actually went outside. You know what I'm saying? We all played. And this was 6th grade at that. But I was getting ready to move, and a couple of other people in the neighborhood were getting ready to move. And so we knew we were getting ready to separate. And so that's just one of my favorite memories. We did what is it called, like a water balloon and like a super soaker, type of little fight or whatever you want to call it, not a real fight, but that sort of thing. It was so fun. I just remember, and then I've never had, again, like even since I went to high school, never had a group of people that I was that close with since then. So the memory does stick out for me, like that group of people. Like even now, we talked about having like a reunion for our middle school people, and you would think it would be high school, but for us, it was middle because we all lived in the same neighborhood for the most part as well. So I don't know. That's one of my favorite. It was one of my favorite memories because I was so close to a lot of the people. I still follow a lot of them on Facebook even now.
Oh, I love that. That is so cute. I do. I love that you're still close to them. I'm gonna ask you another question, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna know the answer to this, but I said I'll ask it anyway. If you had a chance for a do-over in life, what would you do differently?
I don't even know that I would do anything differently, because I feel like if that's the way it happened, then that's probably the way God intended on it being. But if hypothetically, if I could change anything, I probably just would have never smoked. So let's just be honest. Like, I would have probably never smoked or any type of drugs whatsoever.
You know what? Now that's
I've never been on drugs, but yeah, you know what I mean. But I'm just saying, like, I would suggest right now that nobody, if you don't, then don't. But I wouldn't want to be addicted to anything that's not healthy in general. Let's just put it like, even sugar, that's crack right now to me. But you know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm coming from. Just wouldn't want to be addicted to anything. Like, you know, just, I don't know, being in your
Brittany, why am I shouldn't be shocked. I shouldn't be shocked, but you gave like the best answer to that question, because actually I was expecting you to say that you wouldn't have changed anything because it was meant to be. But then the part about when you said smoking, I love that answer. Such a phenomenal answer from a phenomenal individual who is just every day always amazing me. That's why I'm definitely saying y'all need to follow her. You need to touch base with her. You need to connect with this awesome woman. And I'm so honored that you came to spend some time with me today. I would say bread, did we? But I'm so glad you came to spend some time with me today. I really appreciate it. And is there anything else you want to share? Because I know you got some two things happening besides the one that we already mentioned. Did you want to mention any of those things that you have going on?
I'm trying to think anything else besides really just working on YouTube and stuff like that. Not necessarily, but what I can say is that if you want to help me and not have to spend a dime, please go subscribe to that YouTube channel. It don't take any of your money, and I'll be doing stuff like haul, you know, the normal stuff that some of the other resellers do, you know, the mystery boxes and stuff like that. Because when I tell you I have like 6 or 7 boxes right now that I need to get open, I'm like a serial Jomar box, you know, like especially Jomar. Like, I have a few boxes from Jomar right now that I need to open, and I think I bought 2 more. I have Goodwill boxes coming up. So the unboxing on my channel is about to be real, okay? Because I just have a whole bunch of that going on. But I'm all about processes. So what you'll be seeing more of, that's why you don't see me with packages or I bought this or I did this. I don't do a lot of that because I like to teach versus, you know, just show you I made this amount of money. Well, how did you make it though? You know what I mean? Like, so I like to teach people the process behind it. And so anybody else on YouTube that teaches the same thing, that's the kind of people that I like to watch. So, but, you know, like Terry's one of them, you know, somebody that's going to teach you some of the ins and outs on how to do something versus just teaching you, you know, just showing you what I did. This is what I've done. I made this much doing that. That's great. How did you do it? You know, so I just focus on the how and not necessarily what I have accomplished, but just like how to teach people stuff. So that YouTube channel right now is like one of my things that I'm working on building right now and having it be of good quality, not just throwing things out there, but I'm working on it. Note that I'm new. So, you know, if it seems like it was put together, you know, and it wasn't the best, it's because I'm new, but I'm going to keep working on it so I can bring y'all some really good content. And that's pretty much it. I mean, Instagram, I'll always be there for you if you have a question or a concern, or you have some questions about building Instagram, because I haven't even been on there a year. And I feel like actually it's gone pretty fast. It seems like the followers came pretty fast, but I feel like, you know, that's one of my favorite things to do. So if you want to connect with me, catch up with me on Instagram and watch some of these shows. Motivational Mondays is every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And Terry, I just wanted to say, Terry has given me a lot of credit, but Terry was phenomenal too. So make sure, you know, that you continue to tune in, because she's doing quite a bit of great things and stuff as well. I know right now I don't have any more, like I'm not going to come out with any ebooks or anything like that right now because I'm too busy working on the processes and working on YouTube and trying to be more just building in those areas right now. So I don't want to do any products or anything like that. But do know in the future I will have some products and a website to come, but I'm building that in the second quarter. Like right now, I'm just focusing on the processes, and I actually got a reseller. This is something exciting. I have another reseller that is really good with Excel, and I have an Excel spreadsheet, and I think it's great and everything, but I wanted to work with her because she was thinking about coming out with like a program for resellers because she's really good at it, and she's got like different things that she punches in and it does things for her. And I said, well, my sheet doesn't do that. So I'm going to get with her and we're going to see what we can come up with. And if it goes well, then I'll let you guys know. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but I wanted to have like a spreadsheet that is not so difficult, like meaning like, you know, where I can put things in and it'll do it for me. Some of the things it'll just add it up for me or whatever, but I'm not that great with the formula part yet. So I was like, maybe she can help me come up with some better formulas so I don't have to do so much with it. Because like you said, I'm probably just slow because I want to put everything in the spreadsheet. I want to do everything, you know, but I feel like in order to scale, that's what you have to do. You have to know your business. You have to know things. So if you don't have that in place, then you're going to have to get it in place at some point anyway, if you want to grow. Right. So why not do it now? I mean, that's the way I'm thinking about it. Like,
yeah, I totally agree, Brittany. I totally agree. So a lot of great things. And one thing that, because Brittany's doing so much, it's hard for her to keep up with everything that she's doing. But her and Tiana from Swag Slayer Fashion will actually be on YouTube tomorrow morning. What time would that be, Brittany?
At 9:45 Central Standard Time or 10:45 Eastern Standard Time with What Sold Wednesdays. So you'll get to see some of my sales. I don't share them all, but I do share. I try to highlight the ones.
That is right.
You know, like give you some ideas and give you some advice. Like I'll tell you how long it's been in my closet and just give you more than just saying, oh, this sold for $10 and go to the next item. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Because I'm kind of like, I don't know. I sell things of different prices, but most of it I don't care as long as I'm making $15 to $25. To be quite honest, like that's my main thing. Like I want to do more quantity versus, you know, and those things that are easier for you to get than to try to find all these more expensive things and try to find the buyers to buy all that stuff. That I feel like that holds your store up. It's like Old Navy holds up. What is it? Gap. You know what I mean? Old Navy actually makes more money than Gap. But, you know, I didn't know if y'all knew that. But it's kind of like that.
It does.
You know, if it's cheaper, that price point is something that more people can afford. You know, so, but anyway, that's why I like doing that because it's just more.
I agree. I agree with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. You're so right about that. So stay tuned. So definitely tune in tomorrow to that, and there'll be some information out about that. I want to thank everybody for coming out. And again, I am sorry for the technical difficulty. It's on my end for some reason, not Brittany's. So that's why you may have observed a delay. But I appreciate y'all coming out. And Brittany, thank you so much. And everybody have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Bye.